What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to the Interstellar Tournament of another episode of Curtis Review. Let's get right into it. We're talking about the 1993 animated movie Dragon Ball Z: Bojack Unbound. The movie was directed by Yoshihiro Ueda, with screenplay by Takao Koyama, with music composed by Shunsuke Kikuchi. It's pretty standard fare. A rich tycoon by the name of Excess Cash decides to throw an intergalactic tournament for his bratty son, who's obsessed with Hercule/Mr. Satan. Some bad guys come in and try to spoil the party, and you guessed it, the Z Fighters swoop in, save the day, and kick some demon ass. The film falls right after the Cell Saga, as Goku is dead and hanging out in Otherworld with King Kai. Other members of the Z Fighter team are participating in this interstellar martial arts tournament. Where this film really shines is in its animation department. The movie just looks really, really good, and even if the subject matter is relatively dull, it's great to look at. And there's physical comedy all over this thing, and Krillin gets a lot of time in the spotlight. There's one scene in particular where they're on these elevated platforms and shifts so that all these fighters and Krillin kind of slide off, and they're trying to grab onto Krillin's head, and there's all these funny sound effects, and you find out Krillin's waxed his head so it's nice and slippery. And then there's another scene where he slips on Piccolo's cape and falls off this platform, and then he starts doing this kind of wing flapping thing, and I was definitely chuckling throughout the movie. Master Roshi is of course up to his usual antics here, and we get this really funny sequence that's actually a callback to the Terminator movies, where Master Roshi's glasses kind of show as he's looking at these women cup size, how hot are they? It's a really funny physical gag, and I kind of feel because of my nostalgia factor, this doesn't bother me too much, but I wonder, what do you think? Is this sort of a tired cliche? Do you still think it's funny? I think it's definitely kind of problematic, but let me know what you think in the comments. Future Trunks returns, and I have to say this is probably my favorite iteration of the character. The cut-off jacket, his long hair parted to both sides. He's just pretty, he's good to look at, he's a cool design. He has some good fights with Tien Shinhan, as well as one of Bojack's crew later in the movie. Trunks, Gohan, Krillin, and a sumo guy named Doskoi end up taking these cars into this sort of digital, almost kind of the intro sequence to Digimon, lines, it kind of looks like you're moving through a Tron kind of thing. And it's cool visually, but the actual areas that they enter into aren't really super interesting. The animation looks really cool, but these zones were kind of it feels very much here's a sandbox, here's some characters, watch them fight. Gohan's area is definitely the most fun. It resembles a giant toy box, and this is definitely a Gohan movie, but I would say it's not an amazing Gohan movie. He does some cool stuff, but a lot of it is pretty ham-fisted and doesn't land the way you want it to. Just as we're expecting Excess Cash's intergalactic warriors to show up, Bojack's space pirate crew, and while it's never explicitly stated that they're pirates, their swashbuckling attire, Kogu's sword, they're definitely demonic space pirates. Zanya, a calm, cool, collected demon, takes out Krillin. Trunks, of course, takes on Kogu. We also see Doskoi get strangled by Bidu, who is the goatee version of Bojack. Gohan gets paired with Bujin, who kind of removes the veil of the toy box room, and it just has kind of a Truman Show kind of quality, where it's you're pulling back the veil and it's just all simulation. Definitely my favorite one of the Bojack crew. According to the Dragon Ball wiki, Bojack and his crew are members of the Hera clan, which explains why throughout the movie both Bojack and Kogu can go into a full power form, where all it really does is change their color palette and they lose their shirts. And does anyone else notice that people love losing their shirts in Dragon Ball? Sadly, Bojack's reveal is probably one of the weakest of the movie villains. He has no real reason to be there, and the only thing we really know about him is from an earlier King Kai exposition dump, where we learn that the Kais previously sealed Bojack into a star, and then when Goku blew up King Kai's planet with bomb version of Cell after he instant transmissioned him over there, and it ended up conveniently releasing Bojack. Yes, I smell money. Money indeed. Seems like a great way to make money off of these Dragon Ball Z fans. Bojack works only as a doomsday villain. He was designed by movie writer Takao Koyama and designed by Akira Toriyama. And his design's fine, it's pretty cool. I don't hate it. I like the color palettes they use, and they look effective as demons. Their energy ki blast ain't much, but his presence on screen does what it needs to do. I do like these barrier techniques they use. It's like these kind of purple energy lightning tendrils that ensnare and can kind of painfully torture the Z fighters. You see Trunks get stuck in them and a couple other characters. I did like that. There's also a great moment of evil for Bojack where he takes Gohan after he's gone Super Saiyan into this giant bear hug. You really get this impression that Bojack is just seconds away from cracking Gohan's spine and just killing him. Perhaps this is why we get the absolute worst and most boring plot device I've seen in the movies I've watched so far. The Deus Ex Machina of Goku breaking the rules of the other world, coming in and popping Bojack so that Gohan can get free, Goku can deliver his rousing father-son Kamehameha type of speech. You kind of know what happens from there. I like that connection that Gohan and Goku have. I like the message of it, but it just happened in the Cell Saga. It just feels so convenient and lazy. I hate shit like that. I mean, I know Dragon Ball Z at the end of the day is a kid's show. Still, I've seen so many other movies and TV shows at this point, so many animes. I just can't appreciate these kinds of choices in a script. So Gohan gets his gumption back. He goes into his badass Super Saiyan 2 form. He has some kind of quippy, boring dialogue with Bojack and finishes him off pretty quickly. He just puts his fucking fist through Bojack's stomach. And pretty much what happens. Bojack's gone. Trunks and Vegeta do have a couple cute interactions here. Vegeta does notice when Trunks gets downed by Kogu and ends up showing up back on the scene with Trunks' sword, and you see kind of a cool exchange where Vegeta passes off the sword to Trunks. That really worked. You hear Trunks kind of talking to himself my father has swore never to fight again after Goku died, and it makes me wonder is Vegeta depressed right now? Because his good friend is dead after a deadly battle with Cell, and if you think about it, Goku's Vegeta's best friend, and don't at me. It's true. There's a lot of Gohan, look out, Gohan, look out, oh, I gotta save Gohan, and then Gohan's everybody save me, yeah! I did forget to mention that Mr. Satan / Hercule is all over this thing, and he does Mr. Satan Hercule things. There is a really funny physical gag in the beginning of the movie where these fighter jets doing an air show create a smoke picture of Hercule. From there, we see Z fighters in the hospital healing. Hercule's taking credit again for defeating Bojack. Krillin and Oolong take a couple pot shots and the credits roll. I never hate watching a Dragon Ball Z movie, but I do sometimes hate watch them. They're really perfect films, but they also feature some of my favorite characters, storylines, and of course Akira Toriyama's art designs. So I can't not watch them. And Bojack has that perfect Saturday morning cartoon TV special, clocking in at 50 minutes, so it's not gonna take a huge chunk of your time. I'm gonna give it a solid C, right under the Wrath of the Dragon, as Wrath of the Dragon doesn't do any kind of major exposition dumps. I do enjoy the set pieces of Bojack Unbound. I like the character designs, and the animation, like I said, is really good. Before I let you go, I do want to discuss 5 things that you may not have known about this movie. So before you close out, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well, here's 5 things you didn't know about Dragon Ball Z Bojack Unbound. 1. Vampires. In the original trailer for this movie, there were several scenes depicted differently from what's in the finished product. Instead of the demonic space pirates that we see in the movie, they were originally rendered as vampire-like creatures, which I think might be a cool crossover event for Dragon Ball Z in the future. I mean, it kind of has that magical, occult quality to it, and they are discussing a Dragon Ball reboot. It might be cool if they do a vampire storyline. Number 2, Death of Master Roshi. That title card is a bit gotcha, but the original Japanese voice actor for Master Roshi, Kohei Miyauchi, died 2 years after the movie premiered. It was his last time featured in a Dragon Ball movie. Number 3. Dragon Ball Easter eggs. Goku can be seen playing cards with Bubbles and Gregory in Otherworld, and the playing cards feature some familiar throwback characters. Emperor Pilaf, Mai, and Shu are seen on the playing cards in the scene with the lovable ape and cute insect. Additionally, a character akin to Manwolf from Dragon Ball is seen during the Interstellar Tournament of Power, as well as an even more obscure reference to Sky Dragon, who's seen in a crowd scene during the Interstellar Tournament of Power. 4. Swear words. That's right, this movie utters a swear word. When Trunks encounters Kogu, he exclaims, "What the hell are you?" A similar instance happens in the movie Super Android 13. 5. Originally unnamed crew. Interestingly enough, members of Bojack's crew, Zangia and Kogu, are never explicitly mentioned by name in the movie. Additionally, Kogu's name was Gokua at some point in time, translated from Gokua Haidu, which roughly translates to heinous injustice. They decided to go with Kogu so as to not confuse people. And there you have it, my review of Dragon Ball Z, Bojack Unbound, as well as 5 things you may not have known about the movie. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and hitting that subscribe button, and until next time, peace.
I know you're out there, Father. You came back to save me, and I won't let you down!
The fall